Hey everyone, welcome to the 4th episode of the Wheels to Walking podcast. If this is your 4th podcast in a row and you haven't gone to iTunes and given us a 5-star review and handwritten a review and
mailed it to Apple
and also told your friends and family, what are you doing?
And if you've already hit that subscribe button, hit it again to unsubscribe and then subscribe again. I don't know if that works, but maybe it'll give us more subs.
Download all the episodes. Come on. If this is the launch series, and if you're on your
I'm calling you out.
If this is the 4th one in a row, what are you doing?
If you're watching us on video and you don't have an iPhone, go on your computer, download iTunes, go rate us 5 stars, write a review, trying to get on New and Noteworthy. Let's fucking go. All right, let's get into it.
All right, so
first topic. YouTube. We're very big on YouTube, and YouTube, of course, every single year. This is the year 2019. We're wrapping up a decade, and last year, of course, YouTube had released their YouTube Rewind that was the most disliked video on the platform.
On the entire platform. What a great record to hold. Be like, you are the platform, and you put out a video, and everyone on your platform collectively hates that video more than any other video on your platform. I think you screwed up.
Well, it just got memed into oblivion, too, because it's fun to hate on stuff.
K-pop.
I honestly don't even think that was the worst part. That part was like funny to me. The cringiest part was like them talking around the campfire and be like,
I'm so proud of our community, guys.
Fucking Gabby. Anyways, but the YouTube Rewind 2019 has been released, and if you haven't seen it, don't leave this video to go watch it because it's not that good. But
if you've ever seen a Watch Mojo video, it's basically that.
But see, the funny thing is I actually, without seeing any of the criticism yet, I watched YouTube Rewind 2019, and I actually left a comment saying that I liked it.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good
and
either.
I liked it. I liked the video too, because I think YouTube needs to recover from the badness of the YouTube Rewind, and I'd rather have this YouTube Rewind than last year's any day of the week.
But a response to criticism is not to go neutral.
Why not?
Because it's like...
Well, they went super left. What do you expect them to do? Go super right?
Well,
they should go neutral.
I don't know, man. It's like... It feels to me like it's just data. It's like all the Spotify things you've been seeing on people's timelines recently and on their Instagram stories. It's
well, it wasn't just data, though.
Look at all this data. It's like the most watched, the most streamed, the most viewed, the fastest growing. It feels like a Watch Mojo video. And it was so hyper niche. It was like fastest growing Turkish female YouTuber. And it's like...
Not really.
What?
No, that doesn't like that. I didn't think it was that crazy, dude. Like, yeah, it feels like a Watch Mojo video, but like, that's not an original take. Like, no shit. It feels like a Watch Mojo video because that's what Mojo videos are, is a countdown of the top 10 things. Top 10, blah, blah, blah. Top 10 anime. Yeah, it's a countdown video. But what is a recap? Like, if we're recapping the year, we're trying to find the top best moments. So you got to find the top best moments. And they actually... So
yes, technically they are correct.
But the thing is that they did, though, is people are like, oh, but if I wanted to know data, I could just look it up. Some of that shit is not publicly available. Like, for example, the new creators that like were on the rise, like people that grew from nothing to something the best or the most, like some of that stuff was not easily available. Granted, I do think they flubbed some of the numbers because apparently in some of the top 10 liked videos, one of PewDiePie's videos was supposed to be in there and it wasn't. But he still made it into the final thing, which is cool because they've also been kind of exiling some of their controversial creators in the past years. Like the past 2 years, PewDiePie, the number one guy on YouTube, wasn't even in YouTube Rewind. That seems ridiculous, but they put fucking Lele Pons in there,
Yeah, I think YouTube Rewind is what YouTube thinks YouTube is.
Yeah, but I think this year is more accurate. They put
again, it was technically accurate, but the way that they directed the data, like, why do I care who was the number one Turkish female YouTuber? Like that's very weird data.
They didn't say Turkish female. They said it was the first Middle Eastern YouTuber to hit 10 million, or first female YouTuber to hit 10 million. Don't you think that if she's got a lot of big fans, dude, because YouTube is not just American. Like, there was a lot of videos on the top 10 that were Russian videos, other types of videos.
Yeah, agreed.
And like, it wasn't like they said top 10 K-pop videos. They just said top 10 music videos, or they said, but they are in a lot of emerging countries and emerging platforms. I mean, you see what happened with like T-Series and all that stuff. Like
there's also the
international
like,
taking over.
Malaysian guy and the
to be like,
guy
oh, I don't care who the top Turkish YouTuber is. It's like, yeah, but
no, I just mean that in the sense of they're directing the data. They're like, this is the data that we're going to show you. That's what I mean.
But what do you want them to show you? Not like, what would you replace that category with?
I mean, I would prefer it not to be a data-based video.
What do you want it to be then?
I don't know. I'm not YouTube. I just know that last year was tragic and this year was not tragic, but it also wasn't meaningful either.
Yeah. I mean, I just think you shouldn't criticize if you don't have a better idea though.
Okay, fine. You win. YouTube,
I
you
don't
won.
think
I don't have a better opinion.
Here's my final opinion. I don't think it was good, but I don't think it was bad.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't bad because they played it so safe. And I think
that's kind of what they got to do. I feel like,
but they're just pleasing everybody else. It's like, you guys didn't like what we did last year. So this year we're going to show you all the things that you did like.
Sounds right.
Cool, but like, be more original.
I guess
It seems like they just.
But all the times they tried to be original sucked.
They had
let's face it, we suck at this.
They had no production cost. They just repurposed existing content.
Yeah.
All they had to do was edit.
I will say something about the rewind is I feel like they're trying to control such a creator controlled environment, and they're trying to put people like Liza Koshy and Lele Pons as like their stars,
The golden boys.
when the real stars is like PewDiePie and like iDubbbz and those kind of people, but
They're controversial.
they don't want them to be on the front page of YouTube because they've made this like, very
They're bowing to the
fake.
advertisers. It's BS.
It's very-
Well, what I think they should do is make maybe even like different videos. Like, so for example, if they want the video to be like showcasing what YouTube is as a whole, they should make like a YouTube ad that's more like what YouTube Rewind was last year, and it's more corporate-y. But don't call it YouTube Rewind.
Well, I also think about like all the podcasting stars. Like, how come Joe Rogan wasn't on there?
Yeah, I mean, they can't.
He's a force to be reckoned with.
I mean, dude, they also didn't have a slime category. They didn't have a fucking, like, there's so many categories they didn't recognize. They had to parse it down.
Agreed.
I agree with the podcasting thing. Ela brought that up on H3. It's like, there's a lot of podcasts that have like shined really big on YouTube this year and stuff, but it's like, there's so many other niche subcategories. What about ASMR channels? The ASMR community has grown so much this year and they didn't even showcase any ASMR channels. I'm pissed.
What about
it's
those
like
eating videos?
Yeah, or fucking mukbang videos
There
or
you go.
whatever. Like it's all subjective, and I'm sure if you look at the data, they looked at what brings in the most views: music videos, gaming, dance videos. Like, it was pretty broad. And if you're trying to please niche viewers and niche areas, no one's ever going to be super happy. So,
Agreed.
but anyways, I hope YouTube keeps doing YouTube Rewind because we love the cringe. We love
collectively
hating them. But
Yo,
yeah.
speaking of cringe, you want to hear the most cringe story ever? This is probably the most cringe story I've ever experienced in my entire life. Flashback. The year is probably 2005. I'm 16 years old. I just got a driver's license. There's this girl.
What's the top song of the day?
I don't know, but I was listening to like Hinder. There was a song that was called "Far Away."
Do we want to give a little sample?
No, we don't.
So far away.
Yes. You've been far away for far too long. No more, because we're gonna get copyrighted.
I don't think we're gonna get copyrighted. We're not that good.
So anyway, there was this girl that I was mad crushing on. We'll call her JC for anonymity purposes.
For Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
she was hot. For Jesus Christ, she was hot.
and so I was like, okay, I'm mad crushing on this girl. We were friends. We were texting back and forth. I thought she was crushing on me, maybe, question mark. I don't know. I was dumb. I was young and dumb.
You were like, oh, I'm picking up what she's putting down, but really she was putting down something else.
Yeah, she was just
Well,
like,
you didn't know that yet.
Friendship vibes, question mark. I don't even know.
I got you.
And then, so I remember I like went, and this song, I loved the lyrics of the song, so I like burned it onto a CD for her, and the whole CD, was just this song. I also copy and pasted the lyrics into like Microsoft Word and like printed it out, and I chose a red font. It was a red font to signify love. And I got a teddy bear holding a heart, and I got...
Was it like Times New Roman, like just normal like Microsoft
I don't know.
Word?
Knowing me, I probably did like Comic Sans or something terrible like that.
Or Papyrus.
The Avatar. So then I got red roses too. I was like, okay, red CD with the song I like.
Oh, it was a red CD.
It was, yeah, Memorex. It was the color series. They had black, they had red, they had blue, they had green.
I got black, I got red, I got green.
You know what I mean? No, you
and
don't.
We got red font on our paper.
So I got red. I got the red font, and I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go drop it off on her. I'm gonna park across the street where I can see her front door. I'm gonna go walk up to the front door. I'm gonna knock on the door. I'm gonna leave all the stuff at the front door and run away like a little bitch.
Right, so your plan was to run away. You didn't like chicken out last minute. That was your plan.
My plan from the beginning was to go in the car, have her see them, go, oh my God, and then call me and be like, yes, I'll go out with you. I love you. And I'm like, yeah, here's the plan. It's going to work. Okay. By the way, didn't even put my name on it. Didn't even be like, from Richard. I was like,
so how was she supposed to know who it was?
Bruh, I don't know, but she figured it out. And I'll tell you how she figured it out. Because I get a call from the house phone, and I was like, she called me from the house phone, not from the cell phone. You had her number? Yeah, fuck yeah. Okay. We was friends.
Okay.
And it was her mom. Her mom called me and said, oh, Richard, that was really sweet, but JC she just doesn't see you that way. And I go, oh, okay, bye. And I had a flip phone, and I closed it shut. And there I am in her neighborhood waiting for her to like
call you back.
Call me back.
How many minutes transpired in between the conversation?
Not enough for me to have a mini heart attack. Maybe a few minutes, because I was waiting for her to like get the CD and put it in the player and like be clenching the teddy bear and the rose and reading the lyrics and crying and being like, oh, I'm far away. Hearing this story is so sad.
That's very cringe.
I was homeschooled and didn't go to public school, so this was like my first dating experience, or attempted to date. I knew her from like youth group at church. We like went to camp together and like sat next to each other on the bus ride. Ooh.
Wow. Oh, dude, church camp. That was where you could get hella babes.
Bruh, let me tell you, I used to like take a shower with like scented body wash before every youth group.
Axe body wash?
No, it was Old Spice, baby.
Oh, what flavor?
The purple one. I don't remember what it was called, but it was purple and it smelled delicious. And I would take I'd head to toe it, because you would just 3-in-1 that bitch. And then
3-in-1, hell yeah.
You like shampoo, face,
conditioner,
body.
and body all in one. Definitely the most.
And I would intentionally sit next to her and be like, before or after the service, I'd like give her a hug, and she'd be like, oh, you smell so good. And I'd be like, yeah, she definitely wants to date me.
Dude, the hugging, that was a weird thing at church. Like once people started hugging.
Yeah.
The side hug.
Oh yeah, that side hug.
Do you guys know about that song?
Christian side hug.
Give me that Christian side hug. Give me that Christian side hug. I'm a rough rider, filled up with Christ's love. Give me that Christian side hug. And then they say it's
way
like
more lyrics
it's like, it's like no front hug, no kissing. And it's like basically they threaten. It's like, if you front hug that girl, I'll send you home in a coma. Literally, if you guys want the legit most ever cringe, literally go on YouTube right now, or if you're on YouTube right now, open up a new tab. Don't go away from this.
Don't leave this video.
And just type in Christian side hug.
It's pretty amazing.
And it's like a rap group that like sings a song about only giving girls side hugs.
Do you think it's real?
Because you have to leave.
It might be one of those
for the
plant
Holy
things.
Spirit. No, I grew up in a it's real.
You think it's real?
It's so real.
Because there's been some of those things, like the one with the dude who's like, that's because Jesus Christ is not, and he says the N-word. That's fake.
Oh, I mean,
yeah, it's debunked. But anyways, it doesn't matter.
Christian side hug is real.
I have a cringe story too. So,
we're talking about cringe dating, and then we're gonna just Jesus,
so I have a cringe.
Attempts.
Yeah, so I have a cringe dating story. So there's a girl that I liked in high school, and like I don't know. Basically, one night we were driving around in my Honda Accord. Is my dad's Honda Accord that We've had like 5 Honda Accords, but it was an older one, and my brother actually ended up crashing that one. But
You crashed the most recent one.
well, yeah, I got into an accident with it. I someone pulled out in front of me. But anyways,
Yes.
I was driving the Honda Accord, and we were driving around, and this girl, she was like really kind of hipstery and like artsy, and she liked kind of like indie music. And I, at the time, was listening to like dubstep, and I mean, times have not changed, but I was like, my iPod was just like full of dubstep and EDM and rage music and all that kind of stuff. And then also hardcore music, like Under Oath and like
metal.
metal,
New
metal and post-hardcore and like all that kind of music. So it was not nothing was right to like set the mood. Like there wasn't like good like driving music or like anything like that really. And so on Pirate Bay,
Yes.
you know, you could see like what are the new releases of the, you know, you could kind of, there's like a homepage, you could kind of see like what the top downloads
The top
of the week.
100, yeah.
So I noticed that Nickelback had a new album. So I was like, oh, I'm going to check this out. And this was kind of like a little bit, Nickelback I think was starting to get some hate, but it wasn't to the point now where everyone just like universally like has agreed that we just all like love to clown on Nickelback. And at the time,
Did you look at this photograph?
no, it wasn't that album. It was like the Dark Horse album, I think it was called. But
Was that before or after?
it was
Photograph?
after Photograph.
Okay.
So they were already like popular. You remember the song Animals? Like,
Yeah.
oh, no matter where we go,
Yeah.
that's actually a good song.
Acting like we're animals burning now.
That was a good song.
I love how we're
would
talking
say.
about how much we hate it, but we just talked about how much we like
Yeah,
it.
it's like a cringe love. So, anyways, long story short, I'm in the car with this girl, and I'm like, oh, what should I play? And I end up playing this freaking Nickelback album.
And did you stay with it? So did you have to commit? Did you?
I committed because there
not
wasn't anything
did you
else
not
to
be like,
commit
"Ah,
to,
I can't-
really.
I can't." You know what? My
The thing is at the time, I didn't think it was cringe. I was like, oh, have you heard the new Nickelback album? Actually, I just downloaded it. I haven't really listened to it that much because I don't really, but I just remember like later on, like a year later, I'm like, dude, what were you thinking? You were in this car with this girl who was like had like a really cool taste in music, and you played Nickelback. No wonder she didn't talk to you anymore.
Yeah, my go-to when I was in the car with girls, because I listened to metal and EDM, was rap music, because that was like universally loved. Like whenever you went to a party,
That's
like
true.
everyone was always like listening to rap, and so I was like, oh,
That's
okay,
pretty
that's
true.
like that's my go-to is, and I always had subs in my car, so
Oh.
my subs could bump like heavy. I was always like modifying stereos. in
So
my
your
car.
license plate would rattle real hard.
No, I found a way that instead of getting Dynamat, which is really expensive, you find all the places that rattle, you unscrew the screw, and then you put a piece of a sponge behind it, and then you screw it back in, and then the sponge acts as like a shock absorber.
Really?
So I would put sponges like behind my license plate, and like sponges in any like behind my
Anything that rattles.
behind my taillights, anything that made a like a material to material, like plastic
Yeah,
to
yeah.
metal, like I would put a sponge there,
Huh.
and it would create like an absorption shock or whatever. You look at your gift face right now.
Yeah, I know.
Gift
That's
face.
funny.
Yeah,
But dating is hard.
yeah, yeah. You know,
Especially in high school.
It's even harder in a wheelchair, man. Let me tell you, dude. Like, dating apps are mostly off the table, and the reality of that is because,
People are shallow. And
well,
it's,
first of all,
it's physical.
At a first judge, you go, wheelchair guy, swipe. You don't want to take the time to get to know wheelchair guy or wheelchair girl. You're just like, whoop, next.
Because it's like you've got so many options. Because that's the whole thing with dating apps and
the
stuff like that.
illusion
That's
of
like so
choice,
toxic
yeah.
about them. Is you've got this illusion of choice.
Yeah. However, there's a girl I know who has her own like Instagram where she just screenshots people's Tinder messages to her. She's a wheelchair user, and they're just hilarious because they're so ridiculous. But I think as a guy, it's different, and it's like you have to go with two options. Do I make sure that in my pictures I display my wheelchair, or am I intentionally not adding the wheelchair in to give myself a fighting chance? And then when I meet up with them, do I say before I meet up with them, hey, I just want to let you know, like I use a wheelchair to get around. You know, I didn't want to put it in my pictures because no one would ever talk to me. Like, what do you say? Like, what do you do? And at that point, it's like that feels like deceit, and like what a great way to start a relationship is on the
Is catfishing
is
them.
the basis of deceit. I mean,
What was your move? You just kind of were like, I can't do it. Like dating apps is just not the right move for wheelchair users. Or did you do it for a while?
I did it for a while, and I would intentionally always like put 1 or 2 pictures of me. I liked OkCupid for a while because there was a lot of questions that you could ask, and that would make your dating pool much smaller. And then you could elaborate on the questions. I also liked, and that was pretty much it. I was on Tinder and Bumble, and at one point did like Match and paid for Match because I wanted to be, I'd just write too much and be too serious, and like I was, like wife hunting, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't even trying to like, but whatever. And I was overweight at the time, so like I remember not even being. I was like, I don't want to put any like, fat pictures up. It was messy, but I think a lot of people.
Yeah, I feel like the move might be like put pictures of your face for the first couple, and then like for the 3rd or 4th picture, like put your wheelchair.
Because you've been on apps and you've bumped into wheelie girls before, and that's what they usually do is like towards the end is when they're on wheels, or in their bio if they make a funny joke like, I'll never walk out on this relationship.
That's actually really funny. The worst is when people have filters on their photo, like not just
Snapchat filters.
Yeah, like the fucking dog ears. Cut the shit. Cut it out.
And if you have MUA in your bio, guaranteed you're ugly.
Ouch.
Or overweight.
Ouch.
You can contour a nose and a cheek away. Like I don't want to like have fingernails and like claw off your makeup. That's not interesting to me. I don't want to be able to like it's clay.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Or girls that do hair. Anyone who does hair and makeup. I'm sorry, girls that do hair and makeup. You are all insane. You're all crazy. And the reason you're all crazy is because all you do is gossip at work all day.
It's true.
You gossip with your clients, you gossip with everybody else, and you have the most weird reality show skew of life ever.
And the other thing that happens with hairstylists and stuff like that is you're spending time with this person, so you have to like sit with your clients, so you get all the dirt on everybody.
Yep.
And you get to hear the craziest stories like all day long, and so the dirt on everyone, stuff that they don't even like tell their therapist or their parents maybe.
Yep.
It's nuts.
Gossip and drama is like what they thrive on, and then it's like they work Tuesday to Saturday, and then Saturday night they're so lit to go out and they're like pumped to go out, and then they just party from Saturday till Sunday night, and then they take Monday off to recover, and then they're back to work on Tuesday.
Yeah. What's funny is I've been on like dating apps recently, but like I've realized that I'm just like on it as like almost. It's sad to say, but it's like almost like a game because I don't know what I'm fucking looking for. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, who finds me attractive? Oh, who's in, you kind of like get a like baseline for like
ego.
Who's in my league, who's not in my league, who can I like maybe talk to or whatever. But it's like right now I'm like at a weird point where I'm almost kind of like, I don't even feel like if I had a girlfriend right now, it wouldn't be like fair to her. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it could be fair. I mean,
it could.
I mean, you got to think about this. So, like, I'll speak to my wheelchair dating experience. I had to become a highly qualified, interesting person by myself first. Mm-hmm. Like my girlfriend met me at the gym, and since I had already been dating myself for like a year prior, and what that means is like going to coffee shops and checking out restaurants and events and going to concerts, and like I was really fun and interesting as a person already, that when I added in this second person, she was like, dang dude, you do more things than I do, and I got a fully working body. Like she was impressed at like how entertaining and fun I was because I was just out doing stuff, and I met her in an environment where I was the opposite of a wheelchair stereotype. I was in the gym, I was sweating, I was working out, I was getting pumped up. I had like my beard and my tattoos and my little like string bikini top that I always wear, and it's very much like I had to become like a well qualified, interesting person. Like it was before Wheels to Walking had started, but I'd already like made it a couple videos. I transitioned my username on Instagram from what it was to Wheels to Walking, and I had even started to like record myself in the gym, so I was like editing like workout montages and stuff like that. And since I was confident in who I was as a person, and I knew I was competent, like I didn't fear rejection. I was really confident to just like walk up to anyone or talk to anyone or roll up or like it just wasn't. And when they'd be like, oh, sorry, no thanks, I'd be like, okay, cool, we can be friends still because I still think you're a cool person. Or it would be like, oh, okay, well then if you don't want anything to do with me, then I guess I don't want to have to do anything with you. And it didn't hurt because I was very competent and had a lot of self-esteem and was very sure of myself in every other area of my life. So a girl didn't like hurt my feelings. But there's some people that are like,
because it feels like you're getting rejected because of the wheelchair, but the truth is like you can just get rejected because you can just get rejected. Like able-bodied people get rejected all the time.
and I think about people I know that are able-bodied
Just
people.
like JC.
Yeah, both guys and girls that are able-bodied people that aren't very healthy, like physically. They've got bad mindsets about the world. They are in a job that they don't like, or they don't even have a career. So like they're not really qualified to be a good partner, to date well. And you know, they just party a lot. And it's like, so you might find another person who's also as crappy as you are, but more than likely someone who you actually want to be with is not interested in you because you're not like a quality human being, you know. And I think that's kind of the trap of dating apps too, is like, yeah, there's a lot of garbage in the trash can that you could eat, but it's still trash in the trash can, like, and the app is the trash can. And it's like, if you want to find stuff that's not trash, you got to go somewhere else and do other things. And it's like, you know, I remember I've heard people that
I'm not trash and I'm on there.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, is like I'm totally overgeneralizing, and I've known people that have had relationships that come out of dating apps, both good and both bad. You know, I know people that are not trash people that are on dating apps, but all they do is get used and abused by all the other trash people. You know,
it's true.
It's kind of messed up. And it's the illusion of choice too. The second something gets hard, like your first fight, you break up and then you go back to swiping again. And it's like, that's not how the real world works. Like, just because you think you got 20 chicks on deck doesn't mean you got 20 chicks on deck. That just means those are 20 people that are like keeping you on the back burner because you're keeping them on the back burner. It's it's super toxic.
Yeah, it's a very toxic world to get into that like whole casual dating scene.
Well, even like the casual sex scene too.
Totally.
Where it makes something that should be special and where there's intimacy and then there's love involved, it's just as casual as shaking hands. It's like, hey, I just swiped on you at 3 o'clock. At 5 o'clock tonight, me and my boys are going out to get a drink after dinner, and then we're gonna have sex at 9, and we're gonna go back to our lives tomorrow. And like, maybe if I like you, then I'll keep talking to you. But like,
yeah, it just becomes a whole game.
It was a pleasure to meet you. Nice to meet you. Okay,
I got my nut. Thank
There
you. Thank you. You got your O. I got my nut. Thank you.
Very nice.
It was very nice.
Yes, yes.
The handshake between the P and the V. Thank you very much.
Just put on a glove real quick.
Put on a glove real fast.
Wash,
don't want to contract anything. You're a stranger. Thank you.
Thank you.
But yeah, man, it is true, and it's very toxic. But like in the same vein, I think also society has just like such weird, like deep rooted, like puritanical things too that are just like so like for example, when I travel like Europe and stuff, like sex and all that is just more open in general. Like they seem to be more like open to the idea. Like for example, just one instance is like at just normal. I was in Spain. We were at the normal family beach, and I'd say probably 1 out of every 10 women was topless. Now, granted, were they mostly attractive women? No. Were they mostly taken women? Yes. That was the other thing. It didn't seem like a thing that they were doing it to try to get attention. It was more like they were with their partner and they wanted to look sexy.
So they just had tan boobs.
Yeah, sure. Or they want to show off their tits. I mean, guys like to take their shirts off. Girls like to take their shirts off too, if it's acceptable.
Yeah.
And the thing is over here, if you did it, you'd be getting so much unwarranted attention that
no,
it's not worth it. And also, you'd be the one person doing it.
Yeah, you'd be.
But once
like
it becomes the cultural norm, the
or something.
other thing is a lot of kids, young girls over there, before they grow breasts at all, they just don't. They just wear bikini bottoms. Like they don't wear a top because it's like you're a kid. Like. Boys and girls look the same up there anyways. Like there's nothing to sexualize. So it's like really interesting how like the culture is different that way.
I agree.
Because a body's a body. I mean, like, you know, at the end of the day, like we all got weird things about us. We all got interesting things, but also
you
at
have
the same
to think
time, we're all
about
the same.
how puritanical, deep-rooted, religious, you know, Baptist this whole world is, you know, and it's like
I think a lot of that's changing though.
The Bible says that this is bad. And it's
Well,
like,
yeah.
but is it though?
But the thing is, whatever, doesn't matter. But like people can believe what they want to believe, but I think just like the government shouldn't have any like play in that necessarily.
Well, I mean, that's separation of church and state. That's a different conversation.
Yeah. But the I think a lot of that is kind of changing, especially with like a lot of conversation around like gender roles and stuff like that, where it's like, well, guys can walk around topless, guys can show their nipples on Instagram. Like, what's the difference? You know, like,
yes.
And then you start going down this rabbit hole of like, well, what if I'm trans now? So like, what I wasn't allowed to show before, now that I've transitioned,
I got some fat removed. Now I can.
Now I can. I've had some surgery, or even I haven't even had a surgery, but now I've transitioned or whatever. So it's like, it's a very, very slippery slope, and it's very weird that we're still operating under the same, like, we have different rules for different.
Yeah,
for all kinds of reasons though. It's anyways, we could talk about that for a long time, but it's just fascinating.
Yeah. What are some of the things that like you find like difficult in dating? Like and I mean just like from the able-bodied perspective. Like I have the disabled perspective.
Yeah, you got to get over that stigma. See, here's the thing though. This is a point I want to make is, with the disabled perspective, just like we were talking about, it with something else, kind of like with job opportunities. It's like the pool is already so narrowed that you have less choice. So like, for example, here, this is where I'm trying to get to, is the type of person that you will eventually find that's going to be open enough to date someone with a disability is going to be a high quality and cool person, because they're going to not be looking just surface level.
Agreed.
Versus,
it takes a certain special type of individual who has their own values and character and morals that the wheelchair is.
You've already weeded out all the superficial people because they wouldn't date you.
It's a good thing, honestly.
And that's actually an interesting phenomenon that I experienced when I was an au pair. So I was like a male nanny, basically, overseas. Mm-hmm. And I found that like a lot of, in these au pair Facebook groups, people are always talking about these nightmare families, and a lot of times it was girls. And I thought about it, I'm like, most of these families I seem to be finding, if they were chill enough to have a guy au pair, they were a chill family.
Makes sense because
they had to get over the stigma of not having a girl au pair, of a girl nanny for their kids. They had to be like, oh, we want our boys to play with like a guy, you know? So by default, if they were chill enough to have a boy au pair, they were going to be chill in general.
You only au paired boys, right? You never au paired girls?
No, yeah, I only au paired boys.
That would be another step to open-mindedness, because you have to think about like, oh, is this man going to do anything creepy with my daughter?
Well, it's not only that, but what if they're going to do something creepy with my son? You know, like,
agreed. I'm not saying that's not also a thing to think about.
Yeah, I know, but we never. That's the double standard, though, dude. Is like, it never crosses your mind that a teenage girl that's nannying your boy is gonna do something weird. Rarely, maybe, but like it's not crossing your mind. Whereas with the dude, it's almost immediate. Like you're like, well, I don't know if I can trust that guy. Maybe he might do something weird with my daughter. It's weird that there's that double standard there.
Agreed.
But
you also have to think about like all the other places that you put your child's trust into male or female adults. Like,
no, it's true.
There's teachers, there's coaches, there's youth pastors and priests, and there's like scout leaders, and there's so many other areas that you're like, go on, you can go.
And there's a reason for those stereotypes. Don't get me wrong, guys are much more likely to be abusive in that way. Like, I'm not trying to say like, oh, girls are just as bad as guys or anything like that. I'm not trying to make that argument, but the thing that I'm thinking is it's just, I have heard of guy au pairs with girls, but not only girls.
Yeah,
you'd have to at least have a brother, like maybe a boy and a girl, or two boys and a girl.
And usually girls that have brothers are more tough anyway.
Well, here's the thing. It's like girls need a girl role model, boys need a boy role model. The point is a lot of these families that hired me, they had girl au pairs in the past, and the boys hated hanging out with them because they didn't want to roughhouse, they didn't want to play with them in the pool, they didn't want to throw them, they didn't want to goof around, they didn't want to rough them up. They want an older brother to hang out with. They want someone who's going to rough them up and throw them in the pool, and maybe even play football or whatever. Like, these girls would take them to the pool and just sit on the side of the pool and not hang out with them. And I think about that, in the pool playing games with them and diving and holding our breath and like doing all kinds of fun stuff.
I liked hanging out
riding skateboards.
My sister's guy friends more than I liked hanging out with my sisters most of the time growing up.
Yeah.
Because at least the sisters' guy friends, we could roughhouse.
Totally.
Totally.
No, it makes sense. And that's again, to make that parallel. It's like the families, if they were already pulling the barrier down to being chill enough to have a guy, they were going to be chilling up. And that's, I think, one of the hardest things.
The same thing with dating with disability, I think, is if you find someone who is also chill enough.
Yeah, exactly. To date someone with a disability and to get over that stigma. Because a lot of it is external. It's not even necessarily internal.
Well, one thing that I think is an interesting thing that I think people with disabilities should be more open to is dating other people with disabilities. And it doesn't have to be the same kind of disability. Like, I think it would be very hard for me to date another girl in a wheelchair, but I could probably date an amputee. I could probably date someone who was maybe a little Aspergery. I could probably date someone who maybe had like cerebral palsy. I could maybe date someone who...
We get it. I'm just kidding.
You guys are gonna learn. I'm the king of going after this.
After you said Aspergery, I'm like, you're reaching now.
Yeah. Sorry, everyone. Cancel me. Hashtag the Wheels to Walking podcast launch is over.
I'm just kidding. No,
party's over.
No, but no, it's totally true. Like, because
it doesn't have to be the same kind of disability. Like, someone can have...
Because you got your own shit and they got their own shit and you both recognize that.
Well, not only do you both recognize it, but you both respect it. You both are understanding of it. You both are accommodating. You both understand the importance of accessibility and, like, taking care of yourself and the mental perspectives that you have to have. And it's like...
Yeah.
You know, I think it's like... I made this statement. I don't remember where I made this statement or how I said it, but it's like, you just lower your standards a little bit. Like, yeah, and you don't have to lower your standards too much. Like, I've definitely seen people with disabilities.
We were talking about that on the podcast. We were saying, you know, it's like, you can go have sex, you just got to lower your standards.
Yeah, seriously. And I think also which interesting, and I've seen this, is like some people, I'll talk about guys in chairs and girls in chairs, sometimes I see them date down, but other times I see them date up. You know, like, I hate the numbers game, but like, let's say they're a 7, you know, but they use a wheelchair, they'll date like a 5 because a 5 is more, you know, quote unquote, like desperate or quote unquote open. But then like I've seen the opposite true where they're a 7, but they're dating a 9. And because the 9 is just so cool and dope of a human being anyway.
I think about Bobby Lee and his girlfriend.
Yeah, what the heck is up with that?
Dude, well, she talked about it. She was, before she dated Bobby Lee, for reference, Bobby Lee is a comedian, and he's definitely not the most handsome guy, and he's weird. And his wife is
a 3.5 or a 4, honestly. Like, Bobby Lee is weird.
And his wife is, or his girlfriend, fiance, whatever, is smoking hot. She's so hot. And like, she talked about it. Before she dated Bobby, she was dating a professional soccer player who was a 10. Like, she was dating like a total babe, but she was just so fucking bored that she like finds, what she finds in Bobby is like the weirdness, like literally like the instability. Like, he's unpredictable.
He's exciting.
He's unpredictable. Yeah. He's exciting to be with, and he's weird and wacky, and like the almost kind of like Squirmy and Grubs, like the weirdness factor of the relationship makes it more exciting for her, because she never knows what she's gonna get into. Like, it's like she was almost just, she's like, I've dated the hot guy. They're boring. I want to date this guy who's hilarious and funny and has an interesting career, and he's unpredictable. Like, it's that level of, it's almost like why girls are attracted to bad boys or whatever. It's like there's that level of unpredictability or whatever.
Yeah, and I think there's also people that are available that are like, they went through a really rough depression phase in their life, or they used to be fat and got skinny. Like, there's a lot of things that people go through in their life that totally crush their self-esteem and their self-worth, and then have to rebuild it from the ground up. And
rebuild it. You have to rebuild it from the ground up.
Whenever I go it's because I tripped over my words, and I should probably just stop going because that brings more attention to it.
That's whatever.
Anyway, have to
it's like a rewind the tape.
They gotta rebuild their life from the ground up, and thus they have more open-mindedness and more willingness. Like, I joke with Jalila, like, she kind of grew up like overweight and unattractive. Like, it was like it wasn't
the ugly duckling.
Yeah, it wasn't until you saw the pictures. It wasn't until she
don't throw me under the bus.
No, it wasn't until she was like 18 or 19 that she bloomed and flourished, and now she's gorgeous, but because
Those are the best types of girls, honestly.
but because her whole developmental life, she didn't rely on her looks. She had to build character in other areas of life. She had to be compassionate, funny, kind, nice, good communication skills. Like there's
build a personality.
She had to rely on everything else to make herself a good person other than her looks. And then I think about similar to my story, like I had to rely on everything else but my body, because it was, to me, like disabled and gross and nasty. And then eventually I got overweight and I was like, oh, let's add another element to this, and then when I finally got like super confident and like competent and like shredded, and then like all of a sudden I became like hot, and then, so it's like she and I both come from this background of like not being so great. And then we just finally met at the perfect time where she's still growing and developing. I'm still growing and developing. We're growing and developing together. But we, at this kind of like crest or peak or whatever, we're both like, what's going on? Like, hey, what's going on? We're like, it was so strange. I cannot tell you, our like very first date that we had, it was like we were like friends from like very young. It was just weird. It was like almost too comfortable. Like it almost reminded me of like our podcast conversation.
That's
like,
the best though.
We went to, it was like, I changed up my workout schedule.
That's when you know it's right.
Yeah, I changed out my workout schedule so I could be at the gym at the same time she was at the gym. And then one day I like decided to leave like right when she was leaving. Like I saw her finishing up, so I like went to the locker and like got ready to leave, and I was like walking out when she was walking out. And I was like, hey, you want to go across the street to get some food? And she was like, yeah, sure. And we went over and got some food and shut the place down. They were like, hey, you guys have to leave. We're closing.
Where was it? Oh, well, you don't have to say.
Yeah.
It will reveal. No,
at
but
at the pokey place.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
You got the Pokeball. You threw the Pokeball and you got the Pokemon.
Yes, and then we just kept hanging out. Like we just were so good friends. It was
That's awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I remember one of my high school teachers was telling me about that. He was at like a Starbucks and he started talking to this girl, and they talked until the place closed down. I'm like, damn. And then they went outside because they kicked him out, and then they talked for another like hour just standing outside. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are the best types of conversations, when they feel effortless and they just last forever. I feel like that's when you kind of like know it's right or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's when I knew you were the one, Richard.
So I don't remember what our next topic of conversation was, but I think it's a good segue point right now.
Well, I was going to elaborate a little bit more too, because you said what are the challenges of dating?
Oh yeah, you never answered that question, did you? Yeah.
I kind of like threw it back to the disabled thing, but I guess the challenge is like that. Like a lot of it is figuring out who's like shallow and who's just like, in it for the status, or they're just in it because they want to, someone who's going to be pampering them and spoiling them, and like, or is it someone that really wants to build something real? Like it's so hard to tell on things like that. And I think like, honestly, the best way to get into relationships is to be friends first. I know that's like it's harder to get yourself out of the friend zone kind of, but once you like realize like, oh, I like this person as an actual person, like we're not trying to make this weird like sexual tension thing work. Like I'm always just super awkward when it's like very specifically like, we are meeting for a date. Maybe this will end in copulation. Like, yes, I don't know.
I am here to cultivate a romantical sexual relationship with you.
Do you want to do the thing? It's
no, I'm the same way.
I'd rather talk about. I need to like you as a person. I need to think that you're interesting and cool and smart and funny.
I agree with that philosophy. It's a good philosophy.
It's hard for me to like get attached to someone who's like, that I'm not attracted to as a person, not physically, like mentally and all that, which is like so fucking cheesy, but it's true. Like, it's real.
I'm so about that too. I have to be like attracted to them as a person before I can become attracted to them sexually.
Yeah.
Like sometimes like I'll be like with my bros and like, yo, that girl's so hot, and I'm like, she might be. I don't know. I'd have to go talk to her.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Look at her. She's smoking. I'm like, yeah, but what if she opens her mouth? What if she's just a terrible human being?
Yeah, that's the other thing is like, I think some guys can kind of look past some of that too, and they're like, dude, she's so annoying, but like, oh my god, dude, she's so freaking hot, and like it's almost it's like a game of like who can.
I think those guys just watch too much porn.
Probably.
It's a real one-sided sexual thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like Dan Bilzerian talked about it. He's like, I feel like 5% of guys have all the sex. You know what I mean? Like, It kind of makes sense. Like, there's some guys where that's just the game that they play constantly. They always got like 5 bitches on deck. They always
they're
like
Gronk.
They're always like they're talking to their side bitch. My girl was trying to get in my phone. Hell no, I got like 10 side chicks on the, blah blah blah. It's like, I just don't feel like that's any way to live, you know, like I don't like that. Like I'd rather, like, I see those memes of like girls where it's like how I sleep, knowing that no one's cheating on me and no one's, blah, 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 blah. It's like knowing that I'm independent and no one's cheating on me. It's like, damn, like that's really all they're craving is just to be single. Like, geez, basically.
Yeah, true. But,
And I think I think the challenge for me right now is like, I want a relationship in some capacity because I'm not like lonely, but it's like I feel like I'm at that like stage where a relationship would be cool, but at the same time I'm also like very
like you're
comfortable being single. Like I've been single for a long time, and I'm also like I'm like doing cool stuff. Like I'm doing meaningful work right now. Like we're building something really cool. I'm living in like a really dope spot right now. Like, I like my living situation. We live super close together. Like I've got good friends. Like I don't feel like I'm like there's like a hole missing and I need to fill it with a girl. You know what I mean? Like
I think the solution
but I think it would be, I find like a dope partner that's like, it would be like a power couple situation where like my life is cool how it is, their life is cool how it is. We come together and our lives are even doper together. Seriously, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's what I'm looking for.
Seriously, and I think it's one of those things that like the friendship first is a good move, and a good way to tell if it's evolving into something more is when neither of you are dating or talking to other people.
Yeah.
It's like when the other person is like not really going on dates and not really trying to like spend time with anybody else except for you.
Yeah.
Like when you're not going on dates and you're not really trying to spend time with other people either. It's like, yeah, we're friends, but we also are kind of dating. And then you kind of have to like bring that up pretty quickly.
Yeah, and sometimes like the spark just kind of happens too. Like I've thought about some past like relationships. It's like sometimes like you're friends, but then like along the way, like you guys are like by yourself at some point, and then like something like happens,
kissing or something,
or whatever. Yeah, and I think sometimes like I'm always like awkwardly trying to like again like if you're in that traditional date or whatever, you're like awkwardly trying to like, am I thinking about it too much? Am I like, should I go in for the kiss at the end of the night? Or like
I'm getting anxiety just listening to you talk about it. Like dating.
That's why I never do it. Like it's just annoying.
Yeah, but I think it's one of these things. It's like if a good move for you is just continue to work on you and on your life and what you believe in, and then someone else in parallel will also be doing the same thing, and guess what, they're going to be single too for the exact same reasons.
Exactly, dude. Like I'm not worried about it at all, and that's why I think like people have such a like weird mentality about some of that stuff. They're like, well, if I stay single for too long, I'm gonna get too old and no one's gonna want me, or like, oh, all the good girls are getting taken, all the good girls
that's
are
such a
already
scarcity
taken.
mindset.
So
though
fucking dumb.
Such a scarcity mindset.
Yeah, it's so stupid. And also, I feel like eventually, at some point, like we're gonna make a move. Like we've been talking about it for so long. Like we want to move to like Venice or whatever, LA, to like be closer to like a lot of YouTube stuff and whatever. Like there's just so much opportunity out there. And like I also feel like, do I want to like rope someone into that? You know what I mean? It's like of course you can't think too far down the line where you're like rejecting people because you're like, well, I might move in 2 years, so I don't know. Like that's fucking stupid. But like
you're right though. But when you're in a committed relationship with someone, that means that there's now another person that has to also make a decision with you. Like you can't just be like, yo, I'm moving to Cali. If you want to come, you can come with me, but I'm gonna be there. Bye. Like that's not how relationships work. Like,
and I've definitely been like living the past few years kind of like that. It's like, yo, I'm going to Tomorrowland. I'm going to a trip for like 4 weeks, and if you have a girlfriend, it's like, cool. What about me? It's like I've got a job or whatever. You know what it is? Like it's So, anyways, yeah. What was our last topic we were gonna cover?
I really don't recall. Is it on your phone? Let's look at that real fast. Yeah. The thing about these podcasts is we always go into them with a couple of thoughts, and then...
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have enough time to talk about it, but it was do you have enough time for a peeing on yourself rant? Because we were going to talk about confidence.
This can go and this dives into dating. Let's talk about it. So I'll talk to you Willy boys out there. So when we get hurt, obviously, the spinal cord injury gets damaged. We get bowel and bladder problems, and if you ended up like leaking on yourself, it ruins your confidence. I know that I was constantly monitoring what I was drinking, like how many times I had to pee. Like I would wear like condom catheters or like leg bags, so if I like leaked anywhere, it would just like go into there. I know a lot of guys that wear like maxi pads or like Depends because they don't want to leak on themselves, and or they'll get like Botox in their bladder, or they'll get like Coaptite. They'll get like the neck of their bladder like bulked up, and there's no better way to have zero confidence with a girl than peeing all over yourself all the time, because you don't want to like take off your pants and it smell like moldy, stinky pee. Like,
You don't?
yeah, no girl wants to be around that. And if you know,
Moldy, stinky pee. Ew.
Well, it's true. And
It's
if you
true.
and if
It's
you
gross.
know you smell like pee, your cushion smells like pee, your pants smell like pee, your underwear smells like pee, then you're like, oh, I'm not gonna try to get together with this girl because I pee too much, you know. And it's like,
Yeah.
my confidence, even like in the gym too, like was ruined. And so I tried like some medicine and that really didn't work out too well. And then I pretty much just did the whole like condom catheter leg bag thing for a while, and that was like okay, but like again, there's like a condom catheter on my penis. I don't want to have to like try to explain that.
Yeah,
You can't
I
really,
know, I've heard from other guys we've been talking to. You know, it's like you're talking to a girl, and then like as soon as like you think something might go down, you like have to rush to the bathroom and like take off your diaper or your Depends, or take off your condom catheter so that she doesn't see or
and
whatever.
then, like pee, and then like what happens if like something goes down and then you pee on her, or like there's a lot of embarrassment.
Maybe she's into
to
it.
Could be, but there's a lot of like problems with it, and I know that as soon as I got my implant surgery, so I got an implant put inside. It's called an artificial urinary sphincter. It's called AMS 800. It's the same company that makes the boners. You can get like trans folks get those installed, and it gives them a boner. Or if you're old and they basically,
it's an implant that gives you a boner.
Yeah, so it's the two caverns where the blood normally flows into, and where you would inject the trimix in. Those caverns are just filled with like these little plastic balloons, and you can pump them up.
Huh.
So that's like an AMS 600, and I think if you get both of them, it's called like the AMS 1200 or something stupid if you get them both installed at the same time.
Huh.
Anyway, so I've got the AMS 900, and what that did is that pretty much made it so I wouldn't leak on myself. So I've got a lot of core strength, which means I bend down to reach anything. I do any move at the gym. I cough, I sneeze, like any type of pressure. I load up my chair. Any type of standing up, sitting down, any type of pressure on my abdomen would cause like a little like spurt, like a little leak, like maybe like a tablespoon worth of pee, and like that's enough to like make a wet spot. And no one wants to live with that pee paranoia. Like no one wants to be cathing, 10, 15 times a day. No one wants to be worried about, if I drink this coffee or if I drink this energy drink, or like no one wants to go through that. And like there's just this unfortunate thing that happens where guys are stubborn about getting a surgery, or they're some way or some reason like okay with how much they're leaking or how much they're peeing on themselves, or like they don't.
They just feel like, well, this is my life now, so I just pee on myself. Like that's just my reality.
I didn't know there were options, so that's why I advocate so much for people to look into your options and like.
And I mean, this implant like changed your life. Like getting this implant, the AMS 800, like literally changed the way you were. It changed your confidence. It changed like everything.
It helped me get fit again. It helped me be more active again. It helped me be more confident with the girls. Like there was so much about it that like this, and this might sound silly but the second my like dick was free and available to do whatever it whenever it wanted, and the second it was there wasn't any fear of like accidentally peeing on myself. Like I can even sneeze now, like, and everyone pees when they sneeze. Like,
even I do. No, I'm just kidding.
all you girls out there, especially the girls that have had kids, you know what I'm talking about. So, there's definitely like this thing where like, oh, well, I'll just wear like a pad or a Depend, or I'll wear a condom catheter, or I'll just like cath every time I have to load in and out of my chair, or every time I have to change clothes, or like, I mean, that's
a big strain on your life, dude.
It's too much headspace. You spend too much time thinking about your pee and how to not pee on yourself, and then you have to constantly like tiptoe around the line of how full is my bladder, how empty is my bladder, what have I drank, what have I not drank, cath this, cath that, and it's like, start simple by going to your urologist and then getting like some Botox done that makes your bladder bigger. You can also get coaptite, which is they inject collagen, the same collagen that goes into people's lips, into the neck of your bladder, and that bulks up the neck of your bladder. Therefore,
And you'd done that before you got the implant, right?
exactly, I did that for a while.
But it's a temporary solution, right?
It's
It doesn't last forever.
Yeah, it lasts anywhere from 6 months to 18 months. Lucky 2 years.
Because basically, like, correct me if I'm wrong, the way that this works is, so when you have a spinal cord injury, you have to pee with a catheter, which means you have to insert the catheter into your urethra, into your penis to pee. And over the years and years and years of doing that, the sphincter that closes that closes off the tube gets kind of like looser and looser, like it loses its tightness.
If it has any tightness at all,
because you might not have any control over it at all.
Because when you get hurt, it can go completely flaccid. It can go loose. And then,
Interesting.
And
so over time, if you get that coaptite, it can kind of tighten that back up a little bit so that you don't
and it's
you
not
don't pee on yourself
not
when you strain. And the only time it would open was when you put the catheter back in it.
Exactly.
But over time, it still can get, I guess, stretched out is the right word. I don't know.
It's just use. It's just it gets micro damaged or whatever.
So the AMS 800, what it is an artificial sphincter, right?
Yeah. So I think the move is to go with. So it's a very quick. It's not even really a surgery, just because they don't actually like cut you open or anything. They just go in with a scope that has like a needle at the tip of it that can inject this coaptite into your neck of your bladder. You still have to go under anesthesia. It still takes maybe an hour. It still has to be a urologist has to do it, has to be scheduled, but it's a big deal. And then you can also have Botox done at the same time, and the Botox just makes your bladder capacity bigger, so you can hold more capacity in your bladder. And then once you exhaust that, and what I mean by exhaust was I in 1 year I had it done 2 or 3 times, and then
you just can't do it.
And the doctor was like, "Nah, it's time we check out this implant because the coaptite it just isn't working the way it was anymore." And so basically they just do some research. AMS 800, you can Google it. And they cut open you in 3 different places. One place in your abdomen, in your ball sack, and then in your perineum, which is the whole
your taint.
Your taint. Ooh, your taint.
Team taint.
And basically, there's a little cuff that goes around the outside of your urethra, your sphincter, basically, and that cuff squeezes it tight. The bubble,
so that nothing will come out, even if you're straining or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a mechanical version of coaptite, basically. And then the one in your abdomen is this ball of fluid that holds the fluid that's usually kept in the ring. So the ring is where the fluid is. It keeps it tight. And then you have a pump in your scrotum, in your testicles, that you pump.
So it's like a third ball, basically.
Yeah, and when you squeeze it, it moves the fluid from the cuff to the ball in your abdomen,
which is like kind of below to the side of your belly button.
It's if you've ever had a hernia surgery, it's in the same place.
Huh.
Yeah, it's just like you can't even tell.
It's like a little pocket in your pelvis almost.
Yeah. And
if you're watching the video podcast, it's right here.
Yeah, you can see it. It's right there. And then what it does is when the fluid leaves the cuff that's around the neck of your bladder, that opens up that urethra, so then you can put a catheter through it. And then you empty out your bladder. And I can hold between 400 or 500 milliliters, which is really good size for a bladder.
I have no idea how many milliliters I can hold.
Probably that. Or maybe it's cc. I don't remember what it is, but
what is cc?
It's just a size, volumetric size. I forget what it stands for.
Cubic centimeters? Maybe that's it. I don't know.
That sounds maybe right. Don't know. But so it basically what it did is like when I had that surgery, I mean, they cut me open in 3 different places. Like my core was really sore. I had to stay at my mom's for like 7 to 10 days while I healed up a little bit. And then for like a couple months after, I still had to wear the condom catheters and stuff because you can't activate it until it's fully healed. You have to fully
that makes sense.
You have to fully heal to get it activated. And then when you activate it, it still has to kind of like set, which like the cuff around the neck of your bladder or the neck of your urethra still has to like
form a spot for it to go.
A spot for it, yeah, so it's to fit.
Huh.
So
did it feel weird the first time you did it? Was it crazy?
No, it was whatever. I mean, but it took like I had to first wait to get the surgery, get it scheduled, which was 4 or 5 months. Then once I got it in, I had to wait another 4 or 5 months to use it. So it was like a full process. But as soon as I stopped peeing on myself, or like the fear, I call it the pee paranoia, the fear of it and taking up all my brain space, I was like, oh, I can more like freely schedule my day. Like, oh, I can go to the gym and work out and not have to worry about like straining. You know, it used to be that I would never strain, or if I tried to sneeze or cough, dude, I was just always worried. I'm like, I'm gonna pee on myself. I used to be like, achoo. I'd reach down and like just squeeze my dick so it wouldn't like keep like spurting everywhere.
Jeez.
Like it was just a bad situation. And like once I finally got that, I like lost a bunch of weight because I wasn't worried about peeing myself at the gym. I was not afraid to drink caffeine anymore. Some guys also get that same diuretic feeling when they drink alcohol, but I wouldn't know because I don't drink alcohol. And then there's like the coughing and the sneezing. So if you get allergies in the spring, or if you get sick in the winter,
You got the spring allergies and the spring peas.
yeah.
But that's all eliminated now.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about
amazing.
it anymore. And I just, pee every 3 to 4 hours or
So
what.
you sing the praises of the AMS 800.
I
Change
will,
your life.
I will tell everyone up and down, left and right, sing the praises, be like,
We got to do a full video on that soon.
I don't only want to do a full video. I want to do a collaboration with the manufacturer and the guy who invented it. And I think we have a friend who knows that person who can introduce us, and I hope they maybe even somehow hear or see this clip and know how much I'm dead serious when I say like it changed my life. Like my quality of life change was massive, and it's normally used for people that can walk, who are older, that have like prostate problems and stuff like that. So it wasn't originally designed for people like us.
It was accidentally accessible.
Yeah,
It wasn't designed for disability, but it
totally
became an awesome
it totally
feature.
works for it. And like you have to have the right kind of bladder, and you have to pass like a urodynamics test, and there's like a lot about it. Like you have to have the right
And
kind.
females, this is totally a different system, right? Like
Correct.
There's no equivalent. Maybe there is.
I
maybe
wouldn't
there isn't.
know. I'm not a girl. I've never explored it, but I mean, I was told that if it's easier if you're a girl. I've been told that there's stuff that already exists because women that have had children, I've already winked to that, have their pelvic floor muscle gets messed up or weak, and they can't.
All them baby mamas out there.
Yeah, and then they strain, they cough, they pee, they sneeze.
Yeah.
Like, that's why if you look in like the feminine aisle next to like tampons and pads and stuff, they've got like leak protection. They've got like don't pee your
totally,
pants stuff.
Totally.
And it was definitely one of those things where, I mean, complete game changer. So every time I'm around a wheelie boy, and you've seen me do this, where
Preach it.
where like I see them go pee like 3 or 4 times in like a matter of 3 or 4 hours. I'm like, what are you doing? And like, what do you mean? I'm like, dude, I know what's up. Like, I know that this is in your head way too much. I know, like, even like when we
got that pee paranoia.
like there was one time, it's like we showed up to a place, they went to go pee. Like 45 minutes later, we went to leave. He's like, hey, I got to go pee again. And I'm like, no, you don't. You're just afraid of leaking on yourself. You're afraid of that, like 3 to 4 ounces of maybe pee that might be there, might leak when you load up your chair. I'm like, you don't have to do that. Like, you don't
There's
have
other options.
Yeah, so it's like it improves your confidence in yourself and in your abilities. I mean, I think about like the guys that do sports. Like if you like do rugby, or if you do basketball, or if you do mono skiing or adaptive mountain biking, or if you're constantly like leaking on yourself, like that would suck.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
why do you want to be peeing on yourself all the time? And
Not cool.
messing-
Especially skiing. It would like freeze on you.
I don't know how that
That'd be
works. But
terrible.
yeah, it sounds about right. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it's like,
So get yourself an AMS 800. We'll have the link in the bio. No, I'm just kidding. We don't have any affiliation, but we're hopefully going to do something
I
soon
would
with them.
happily. That is one of the
biggest ones.
one of the few things that
Change your life.
I believe in so strongly that I would love to do some type of campaign with them.
Very cool.
I would very much happily do that.
Very cool. Richard, what do we need them to do?
All right, so if this is your 4th episode that you've listened to in a row, you know what I'm about to say. And what I'm about to say is what Andrew's about to tell you.
Okay, so on Apple Podcasts, go subscribe, rate, review, download, and play all of our episodes. It's really going to help us out. We're trying to get on New and Noteworthy. If you're listening to this, you're probably like, oh, everyone else is going to do it. They're not going to fucking do it. I promise you. We're going to have thousands and thousands of downloads, and we're going to have like 50 reviews. And it sucks that that's the reality, but that's just the truth. I've been podcasting for 2.5 years, and that's what happens. It's kind of annoying, I know, but it really will help us out. It gets the word out, gets our podcast to more people, and in turn helps us, help more people. And especially, this channel, the main Wheels to Walking channel, is so important because It's literally helping so many people. We get so many messages that make us fucking cry every single week. So,
Seriously.
was that mine or yours?
I don't know. I did hear it though. Our stomach was
But
like,
anyways, doesn't matter. Follow us on places and help us get on New and Noteworthy. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
Adios.